Aloha, guys. Welcome back. One of the things I like to do here is, like the name of the show, is look at things from across the spectrum, right? So this is a man named Anthony Brian Logan. He says Jasmine Crockett doesn't understand black Trump supporters, and that's probably true. So one thing I can do is I can have conversations with people who are on the far right, and libertarians, and have respectful conversations and actually talk about things and get things done and get a conversation like to a point where we both feel kind of satisfied that we both learned a little bit or whatnot. So Jasmine Crockett and a lot of these Democrats, and especially like the Majority Report, Secular Talk, a lot of these so-called progressive news shows act like they have no idea what Trump supporters are thinking and that they're evil and that there's no point in even talking to them and whatnot. So I want to look at. I already look at things differently, and I'm hoping and I'm hoping to help lead the Green Party in this direction too. I'm pretty sure they already think mostly like this, where everyone is accepted, and we would like to hear all people's point of view and why you feel the way you do. And a lot of times, libertarians and even far right people kind of want the same outcome. They just feel how to get there is different. Like the way to get there, how you make the cake or make the bacon or whatever you call it, is different to get the outcome you want. But so I got three guys we're gonna look at. They're all black and all Trump supporters, and so we're gonna look at their perspective as to why they support Trump.
President Trump.
Ooh, that's
Now,
loud.
this really shouldn't be that difficult to figure out.
All here.
Hey, I think Jordan
We had to take that back. Here we
House
go.
Rep from Texas, a Democratic House Rep from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, cannot understand why so many black people love President Trump. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk
How's
about it.
everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Democratic House Rep from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, not being able to understand why so many black people love, appreciate, and or just support President Trump. Now, this really shouldn't be that difficult to figure out. Before we get to some real political reasons, and before we get to what she said, I just want to state the obvious. Before 2015, when Trump and Melania came down the escalator to announce his run for president, nobody ever said that Trump was a racist. Nobody ever said that Trump hated black people.
Well, before that, I had heard about him putting the C on the applications for his apartment in New York, and I had heard, oh, and what do you call it, the Central Park Five, yeah. So it depends on how deep you are into politics and knowledge and looking into things, if you thought he was a little bit racist or not, or all the way racist.
Trump was beloved by the community. We embraced him
He was
as
in all the rap
one of our
songs.
own. And this goes back many, many years to the 80s. You got pictures of him with Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, getting awards. He funded Jesse Jackson's not one, but two runs
for president.
for the presidency. He always contributed money.
But whether he's racist or not, he is a businessman and he does make money or tries to make money. And I mean, I guess he does make money, right? So he's a businessman and he's a businessman first. And whether you're racist or not, you see green before you see anything else. Any
Al
other color.
Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, NAACP. Okay, rappers loved him. He was in the Fresh Prince for an episode. We loved him there.
Oh, that means
He
a
was on
lot.
an episode of G Unit Radio at the height of
He's in the Fresh Prince with Will Smith, smacking black people. No, I
50
kid, I
Cent's
kid.
popularity
I don't know if I'm
with
funny or
Tony
not. Try to
Yayo.
be.
Not even 50. He wasn't even there. And Trump appeared on this radio show in person. This is long before any kind of presidential aspiration was announced. This is just Trump, being a friend to the black community. We've always loved President Trump. So it was only in 2015 where that changed. People like Jasmine Crockett don't really want to acknowledge that. And before I go any further and get into some more political reasons why we support Trump, let's get to the video here. Of course, this is going to be Breakfast Club, so I got to kind of do weird freeze frames and stuff like that to prevent copyrights. But of course, I will link to this video in full without my commentary in the box. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Why do you think people still love him so much? And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like us. Like, why are there some of us that still favor him? Like, why is he still so like he has such a high approval rate. Trump.
I don't know that. Well, I ain't gonna say he got a high approval rate. He is doing better in his approvals than
It's
he
people like
typically.
us that, like a lot of black people.
You don't mean literally.
Fighting
Like, you mean it
for
literally.
it.
Oh,
No, I
okay,
think
okay.
it is because
Okay.
they put out a poll, and I think his approval rating was 53.
Yeah, it is weird. I keep hearing people say his approval rating is high and that it's low, that it's the highest ever, and that it's the lowest ever. And I keep seeing the same that CNN news thing where they talk about it, and everybody says this like exact opposite. Watching the same show, like, is his approval rating high or low?
3%.
Yeah,
She's
that's
talking about black people though, right?
Yeah, I'm talking
Okay.
about us. Like, there's so many of us like that.
yeah. I
that be
can't
fighting for
explain
this
it.
man.
I can't explain it. I have no explanations. The only thing that I can say
It's
is
terrible.
that number one, I'm happy to know that Trump is an anomaly.
So you
He is
don't
not
know?
an anomaly at all.
You don't know?
But she has no idea what a third of the country or so wants or thinks, or I mean, no idea. How are you going to help out people that you have no idea about? That's not good.
I mean, it's really easy to understand. So you don't know? You don't know? I mean, it's really easy to understand. Let's talk about who you have to run on your side. Who are your top people on your side as Democrats? Can we just show that right quick, because I think that's pretty important.
You got
Now, look,
Kamala,
this right here,
AOC
these
decent,
are your top 5
Buttigieg.
people according to
Yeah.
recent poll
Who's that? Wells?
in the
Walls?
2028 Democratic primary. These are the top 5 people that the Democrats want to run for president. Who do we have here? First of all, nobody black. That's number one. So I don't want to hear this whole black thing. That's not really a thing on either side. And personally, I don't really care about that. Are you a good leader or not? Do you know what you're doing or not? Are you
Right.
going to have this country run properly or not? You have Kamala, who's Indian, not black. You have AOC. You have Tampon Tim Waltz, Gavin
Ooh.
Newsom, and then Pete Buttigieg, a man married to a man, and they quote unquote adopted, purchased 2 kids.
Oh gosh.
That is who we gonna try to.
Well, that's odd. Why would you talk bad about adoption? I mean, you got to pay for everything, so I guess adoption might be purchasing kids, but more kids need to be adopted. As long as we have kids that don't have parents, they need to be adopted. Why would you act like that? I don't like that. That's weird.
Put out in front. Why would anybody black, especially a black male, why would any of us want any of them over Trump?
Well, that he said over Trump. I don't see why anybody would want any of these people. Maybe AOC, but over Trump. Yeah, I wouldn't want none of these people over Trump. Maybe AOC also, but I don't see, like, it doesn't have to be a black male. Any person. Why would you want any of these for, especially? But maybe AOC. But she's kind of sliding blue, sliding
I
to
don't
the
understand. It doesn't make any sense. These people are not good for us. They're not good leaders. And Trump is the better leader. So maybe, Jasmine Crockett, that'd be a reason why we
Crockett?
support
Why are you saying her name
Trump
like that?
over anybody that you have.
People continue to try to be the next Trump. They are not, right? Like, we've seen it with DeSantis. He's not. We've seen it with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's not. Elon Musk, his numbers continue to drag him.
Elon Musk is not a politician. Last time I checked, Elon Musk is working for the administration. Okay,
He's
and
kind of a
Vivek, I don't know
politician
about
now,
Vivek
though.
trying to be the next Trump. Maybe you had a point with DeSantis, but at the end of the day, I think we'll be just fine with JD Vance. Are you going to mention him? I don't think so, because I think you know that he is the best out of the pack so far, and it's going to be easy. He'll be a shoe-in because he's already the vice president. You could just go from being the VP to the president.
Down, right? For whatever reason, Elon's numbers go down and Trump's still kind of linger about the same or go a little bit higher. I will say that there is a cultural aspect to Trump that is unique and unlike anything we've ever experienced. And I think that was another failure that we had.
We kind of experienced it a little bit with Barack Obama, the whole hope and change thing.
Yeah,
that was
that's
really,
true.
really big.
It was
I mean,
huge.
that was crazy. And the voting numbers,
Oh my gosh, and the Democrats just waste everything we give them. Why? I got people on my channel that are mad at me talking about, why would you go to the Green Party? You're going to lose all this with the Democrats do this or whatever. They don't want us. They do not want us. Obama had, like he said, huge thing, right? And they just gave it away, pushed it away, didn't want to use it, didn't want it. Why give it back to them again for a 4th time? Jeez.
suggest that it was really crazy. Imagine a black man, quote unquote, biracial, whatever, black dad
What is wrong with being biracial? Jeez.
getting elected not once but twice. That's not a fluke. That is something that he really did. It was a big movement.
It was a huge
That
movement.
however, is over, and now it's time for Trump.
In the campaign overall is to understand.
But again, that movement is over because he told us to go home. Bernie lit that movement again. They told us to go home. Bernie lit that movement again. Barack again squashed us. The Democrats do not want this movement. Do not give it to them.
He's different. He's different. This is a guy who's had his name on buildings forever.
That's right.
And people have been like, oh, he owned it. Not really. His name is just on it, right? And so he's very good at creating this perception. He's created this perception of, I am that guy, right? And he literally became the closest thing to Teflon Don that we have seen, right? Like, who has this many cases in this many
He's more
jurisdictions?
Teflon.
And yeah, I know.
Because of presidential immunity.
I get it. I get it. But I'm just saying. So
Well, really, what you're saying right now, these are good things. Teflon Don, you know, all the cases. Well, we knew the cases against them were BS, and that's something else that y'all don't understand. You see, this is the reason why we support Trump as well, because we know that y'all are against him. Okay, we know that you guys don't want him to be there, and we see how much you lie to us, you manipulate us, you gaslight us. The thing about Trump, love him or hate him, you can't call him a liar. You can't say that, because the things that he says are actually legitimate. The things that he says he's going to do, he does.
Well,
Can't call
Trump
him-
does lie a lot. Trump will contradict himself almost in the same sentence at times. So it's odd to me when people say that he's like a truth sayer or something, or that he doesn't lie.
A liar. You can say you don't like him and that he's a racist. That's just your opinion. But factually, you can't say that he's a liar.
no, I
Yes, you
think
can.
that from a cultural aspect, like he used to be talked about in rap songs and things like that, I think it's hard for you to then say,
He's throwing up
oh
the
no,
fist.
he's a terrible person. Because
Power to
there's
the
been
people.
this kind of aura around him that was created.
Trump is 78 years old. If he was such a racist and a terrible person, I think we would have heard about it before 2015, especially since he's been in the public eye for the majority of his life.
I mean, people have heard
Maybe
of
you
it.
would have heard at one point before 2015, when it became politically expedient to attack him, that he was some kind of bad person.
Which may have been okay for TV, may have been okay for music, may have been okay for casinos, but it ain't okay in the Oval Office. Like, I need y'all to separate the two. Like, like I don't need it to be that everybody that kind of walks in that lane is now somehow qualified to be president of the United States, because that's it takes different qualities. And I think that that's why it's been so hard to kind of tear him down.
Well, that's a big thing in the U.S. and the West in general. Is we like our movie stars, we like our rappers, our entertainers in general, right? And we hold them in higher regards than we hold scientists or teachers or people who work with their brain, right? So that's like a Western culture thing.
Down is because
It's hard to tear him down because he's an effective leader. That's the thing about it. It's one thing you're missing. You're talking about all the mystique and his name and the fortune. That's one thing you could talk about, and that's fine. That's legitimate. That is an appropriate point to make. But you are neglecting to mention how he's a good leader, how his policies are actually helpful and beneficial. When you guys, Jasmine Crockett, speaking about you now, when you guys were flooding this country with illegal aliens to the tune of 20 million at least, probably 30 million in 4 years, while you guys are doing that and unleashing crime, violence, and taxing us to death, the illegal alien problem cost us $450 billion a year from our money, from taxpayer money. When that's happening to us and we say, hey, can somebody please stop it? And then Trump comes in and stops it. We like that. We like action that is going to help us. We like when somebody hears us as regular people and they do something about what we're talking about.
because
See, Trump is at least good at that. He acts like he hears what the regular people are saying, and he gives them like a plan, and he like executes it, kind of. But it's not like he gets a lot done. He just says a lot and makes it seem like he gets a lot done.
he's different. I don't think these people are necessarily Republicans. I don't think they're necessarily going over to that side. I don't think they're necessarily MAGA. I think that they are just Trumpers, like, period. And I think MAGA is supposed to be a movement, but I believe that once he is out of the, like, way, right? Like, once he's out of the presidency.
That's what you think, that once he's done, then the movement will die. But all you're going to do is continue. But we already got JD right there. That's why you didn't talk about him too much, because you already know what it is. He's going to continue. He's going to be the guy that carries the torch.
If he
But see, and that's the thing about the Republican Party, is that they will at least try to keep the movement going, right? They're going to do whatever they can to keep these MAGA people out there loud voting. The Democratic Party, they won't do that, and they've shown that they won't do that. We've gone to the Democratic Party several times since 2008, at least 3-4 times if you count Barack's second term, and they don't want us. They told us they don't want us. I don't understand why people want to keep going back to the Democratic Party. You hear him. He's a Republican. He's like, yeah, we're going to keep this movement going. They're going to keep us going. Like J.D. Vance is there. They know that their politicians at least act like they like them and at least feed the movement.
he leaves, if he leaves, Jesus, because he decided he a king now. But if he leaves the presidency, I don't see anybody else being able to take up the mantle. He already said JD Vance ain't the one.
Yep.
Like, I mean, there's nobody else
Well, I didn't hear that, but I think that we all know that JD Vance can most certainly do it.
that will be able to take up that mantle because he
J.D. Vance is pretty decent at talking, and Vivek Ramaswamy is really good. They got some people that at least get in front of the movement and try.
is unique.
How do you get a small business?
But Trump is not as unique as they all keep trying to say he is.
All right, so there we go. That is your Democratic House rep from Texas, Jasmine Crockett. Not understanding or kind of being facetious. Like, I think everybody knows why Trump is popular is because the Democrats don't have any real leaders. There's no masculinity. Nobody that has the right idea.
They got no strength.
Are bought and paid for. Deep state, globalists. They don't have our best interests at heart. When they are in power, things do not go the way it's supposed to go. People suffer. People say, you know what, enough's enough. Let's go a different direction. This is why people love Trump, and they're not going to stop. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to President Trump. Shout out to everybody that voted for him. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Shout out to you guys who did that. Even if in your very first time voting for him and you're starting to see the light now, welcome. I'm glad you have your eyes open. Hopefully we can keep this whole thing going. And again, we can. JD's right there. We got him. So come 2028, really come 2026, we could go ahead and just start running him. 2028, we can win again. Because look, seriously, as I close, I'm going to say this. Who did they have on their side? I showed you guys the front runners of 2028 on the Democratic side. AOC, Tampon Tim Waltz. If you put their top runner, Kamala, against JD Vance, Kamala has no chance.
Oh, yeah, I don't
None
think they're
of
gonna
them
run
have
Kamala.
a chance against anybody that we put up. Even if we put up a kind of a second or third tier person, they would still completely stomp the other person into wine. It's simple as that. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what?
Yeah, I think AOC is the only one of those that would have a chance. I think Gavin Newsom and his handling of the wildfires kind of messed with his political career. I don't think he's going to be able to run for president. And Kamala is just terrible, as we all seen. So, yeah, I don't think the Democrats really right now have anybody that can stand up and try to take on anybody the Republicans are going to be putting out next time. As I said, we have a few going. So this is going to be TD Media Group. She really hates America. Jasmine Crockett is rooting for Mexico to defeat us. So as I said, I'm going to look at a few different people on the right talking about Jasmine Crockett.
Social media censorship and shadow banning.
Do this 7 minutes a day.
Here we go.
Today, we have to speak about Representative Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I don't know what the Democrats are doing, but for some reason, Jasmine Crockett has been everywhere on every DNC mainstream media channel, talking some more. And every time she talks, she sounds completely ridiculous, speaking nothing but pure nonsense. I'm not sure why they're going down this road, which is a losing road.
Yes.
They're betting on Jasmine Crockett. It seems like to be the new face of the Democrat Party. They clearly haven't learned anything from Kamala Harris and their past defeat against Donald Trump, the landslide. They clearly haven't learned anything. And this is only going to ensure that the DNC will be losing many more elections for years and years to come if this is the road they intend to go down. Jasmine Crockett without a shadow of a doubt, has to be the most anti-American person in Congress. Has to be with what we're getting ready to listen
Well,
to
they say
today.
that about Democrats a
Because
lot, though,
yesterday,
right?
while she was on the Breakfast Club, she was actively rooting against America while being for Canada and Mexico. But before we get into that, what I want to do right now is play this for you here. A few days ago, I'm going to say maybe 2 days ago, something like that, Jasmine Crockett held a Know Your Rights town hall, right? And I put that in air quotes because these Know Your Rights town hall, translation, in my opinion, it's how to evade ICE town hall, right? That's really what this is. If you're an illegal immigrant, here are some tips to evade ICE and how to get around capture from Tom Homan. That's what this is. And here's a snippet of some of what they were discussing. And I want you to hear how Jasmine Crockett is going to refer to, I believe it is the Lake and Riley Act, as stupid, if I'm not mistaken. The Lake and Riley Act is stupid. Let me just play this for you and then I'll give you my take on it.
Such as like Texas, a lot of times the law pretty much says when it comes to domestic violence that if law enforcement is called out and if both people are still there, then a lot of them have a policy that they have to take someone in, especially if the accusations are quite serious. And part of that is supposed to be out of protection, right? But sometimes they just take whoever because they don't know who it is that they believe really perpetrated it. But it is my understanding that that actually may start a process of removal, even if it is a victim, which is why people like, say me, did not vote for this stupid act, even though I surely hate what happened to Lake and Riley. But the Republicans have decided to really gas people up by using, say, a victim's name and making people look like they're the devil because a victim is listed on this bill. But the reality is that it's not about what happened to the victim. She wasn't a victim of domestic violence. This was someone that ended up being harmed by somebody she didn't even know. But they decided to do it because they want to make it an emotional thing, if anybody knows the story. And they're counting on people not looking into the minutia. But as an elected representative on the federal level, it is my job to understand how this bill will impact real people's lives. And I don't see how this won't be disastrous, especially since we've already discussed that if someone, say,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's enough. That's enough. She's not even making sense. I don't even understand what she's trying to articulate right now. But you have to be just
Well,
a
to me, she was saying Lincoln Riley got attacked by somebody she didn't know, but then they put her name on what do you call that, a domestic violence act because it was like a famous case and a name, so it could draw emotion to this. It drew emotion to this act, right? So that's what she was trying to say. I don't know enough about the Lincoln Riley case itself. I don't know who attacked her, so I'm gonna look into that and then get back on that.
egregiously tone deaf to utter out of your mouth the Lake and Riley Act is a stupid act. The Lake and Riley
She could be
Act
more
is
gracious.
an act that would, if an illegal immigrant commits a crime of any sort, it doesn't have to be a violent crime. You could have stole a Snickers bar. You steal a Snickers bar and you're an illegal immigrant, you're getting detained and off you go. How anybody can be against that, I don't know. Because I know for sure.
So then I'm not sure what the act has to do with domestic violence then. Like if the Lincoln Riley Act is just if you get committed of a crime and you're illegal, you get sent away. I mean, domestic violence is just part of a crime. If the bill's not directed around domestic violence, then I don't think she should have said that because it doesn't really make any sense. If it's not just about domestic violence, if it's about any crime, just domestic violence happens to be a crime, which it should
If
be.
I broke into your house illegally and you caught me stealing something, you would definitely want me detained and removed from your home immediately. So why, when it's the other way around concerning illegal immigrants, this is an issue? I don't know why. But as she's saying that what she believes happened to Lake and Riley was awful, she doesn't care what happened to Lake and Riley. Just like she doesn't care what happened to what's the young girl's name, Jocelyn Nungary. They can't even fix themselves and fix their mouths to utter these people's name. They can care less about what has happened to the
Didn't she say her
countless
name?
victims, those who have been removed from this earth, those women who have been violated, as I say, children who have been violated. You all know what I mean when I say violated. I mean the R word. People that have been brutally beaten, robbed. I mean, they can care less about any of this.
Well, it's kind of disingenuous. I would ask him what he thinks about school shootings and you gotta have your guns. I bet it's just gonna happen sometimes. So, I mean, both sides do that. Like they care about certain things, but not other things, and they hold the things they care about higher than the things that they don't. Which I guess is why you care about them. So,
And to be this tone deaf, to say something that stupid, just leaves me just confused and scratching my head as to why the Democrats are insisting on pushing this woman forward as their newest representative when she's this much of a dunce.
well, they have nobody else. Like from the last show, Kamala Harris can't be out there. She's a terrible talker, babbling and cackling. Who else was it? AOC. She's out there, trying and whatnot, and she's doing interviews. So she's out there, and then Tim Walz. I haven't seen him doing anything. Gavin Newsom. He's probably hiding too after them forest fires. And then who was the last one down there? I forget. Oh, Buttigieg. Yeah, Buttigieg, and I don't know what he's doing either. So
I mean, like I said, the tone deafness of everything that she's saying is unbelievable. But it doesn't stop there. We all know about the tariff war going back between, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And we're all very aware and understanding of why Trump is going at Canada and Mexico with the 25% tariffs. Because they're refusing to play ball and hold up their end of the bargain with securing their own border. Just secure your side of the border. We're not asking for much. Just secure your side of the border as it pertains to illegal immigrants crossing into our country and stopping the flow of drugs coming into our country, which they're smuggling through your border, through your side. Play your part. That's all I'm asking of you to do. Because they give us such a hard time with playing their part, Trump said, okay, listen, if you guys don't want to play your part and just be fair with us, 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada. I think we can.
So are there lots of illegals coming in from Canada? Is that what that means? Our border with Canada is not secure?
We all understand this. This all makes sense to us. Okay, we got to do what we got to do. Throw these tariffs on them, right? Because you're allowing the flow of illegal immigrants and drugs into our community at an unbelievable pace. Well, here's what Jasmine Crockett thinks about that. Let's listen to this dunce.
And it's stupid to have this drug war. You should just legalize drugs. What do you call it? Like test them and sell them at not regular stores, like 21 and up stores. Like they do the weed and whatnot now. But I mean, if drugs were regulated and clean, like people wouldn't have to worry about getting bad heroin or fentanyl at all, right? You just wouldn't sell fentanyl. You'd sell whatever drug you want instead of fentanyl. I don't know what they're using, but
airheaded, a nonsensical comment coming from Jasmine Crockett when she was recently on The Breakfast Club. Let me play this for you right now. Check this out. This is unbelievable.
Been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild, but they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and
I'm sorry, I'll start. This woman is stupid. I mean, God. I'm just trying to, I don't want to go crazy and go on a rant and just completely off the rails. Let me just play this. Oh, this woman is so dumb. I can't believe that this is who they're pushing as like the head of the DNC now at this point, all throughout mainstream media. Unbelievable. She
wasn't very articulate with that, talking about rooting for Mexico and Canada, like against us.
Rooting for Mexico and Canada. My apologies. We'll take it from the top. It's only 23 seconds long, but let's play this.
Been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised. We've been the one to call it out.
No one's acting surprised. One of these.
There are some people acting surprised. I was watching this video about Asians, FIFO or whatever, and all these Asians that voted for Trump, and now some of their families getting deported. One of the guys was he looked like to be about 20 something. He might have been in his late teens, but I think he said he was Vietnamese, but he was crying. Said his mom got deported, and he was sitting in his car crying on the phone or on his TikTok or whatever it was, But there's a lot of people who didn't really think he was going to do quite what he's doing.
This really dumb tactic that Democrats are doing right now, and I'm sure many of you all noticed this already, is they're playing this weird, really dumb game where they're pretending as if those of us like myself who voted Trump somehow have some sort of regret. That we're looking at the things that he's doing
who voted for Trump
and saying, "Oh man, I didn't know he was going to do all this." No, he said he was going to do all this, and we supported all of it. That's why he beat Kamala Harris in a landslide. It was a bloodbath. Okay, it was a bloodbath. It was ugly. Kamala Harris never stood a chance. Trash. It's garbage. He said he was going to.
Actually, I thought he was going to beat her by more. I didn't think he was necessarily going to take all 7 swing states, but I thought he was going to win a higher majority of the vote.
All these things, and he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. That's why he has a 53% approval rating, and all across the board his approval rating is positive because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do, and this is what we voted for him to do. But they keep trying to spin this weird narrative that there's some sort of regret when there isn't. I don't understand how somebody like Jasmine Crockett could be this out of touch and out of the loop. It's really mind-boggling, and it just kind of defies logic. How you can get on all these public platforms and speak this stupid. And once again, why is the DNC pushing her forward like this? Can it get any more anti-American than this? You're rooting for Canada and you're rooting for Mexico. If you're rooting for Canada and you're rooting for Mexico, that means you're rooting for the country that you live in to fail. You're rooting for the country that you live in to crash and burn.
Definitely not a good look.
Why would you root for that? Once again, all this stuff defines logic, but I'll leave it there and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, and then we got one more Anton Daniels to look at after this. This is going to be the Millionaire Morning Show with Anton Daniels. We have to stop Trump from auditing the government. Jasmine Crockett leading a resistance. Let's take that back.
Now, Jasmine Crockett is continuously making her way over to MSNBC, CNN, MSNBC, and she want to give her take on why she think that the Trump administration is not doing what they supposed to do and how they got to fight the power and continue to be a part of the resistance.
All right, so let me know in the comments if you like the longer video like this or if I should break it up into each individual commentator. But I figured since they were all talking about Jasmine Crockett, they're all right-wing black guys, that it'd be one contiguous video, or I could come out with 3 parts. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, share, subscribe also.
Resistance sound like insurrection to me, but we'll get there. Let's see what Jasmine Crockett got to say, y'all.
Joining me now is someone on the front lines of the effort to push back against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is a Democrat of Texas. She's a member of the House Oversight Committee on DOJ. Congresswoman, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
This is a tricky one. Now, you have the benefit of you were not a member of Congress in the first Trump administration. You were in government, but this is what's your take on what resistance looks like for you, for me, for society, for those lawyers at the DOJ?
Listen to what they're saying. What is your take on what resistance looks like? They're not even trying to work with the Trump administration. They're not even trying to find common ground. They're not even trying to find where they can find out bipartisan agreement. Their entire existence, the Democratic Party, which is one of the reasons why y'all lost bad in this last election, their entire premise is based on resistance. 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 That's the only thing they care about is disruption. That's it. That's the only thing that they care about. Okay, yeah, man.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, so
But
first of
both
all,
sides do the exact same thing. Mitch McConnell talks, oh, we're going to make him a one-term president. But even since then, the Republicans don't work with they wouldn't pass something Biden wanted to pass that was their thing. Oh, the border bill. They wouldn't pass the border bill when Biden was trying to pass it. And they act like, oh, the border's open, but they wouldn't help pass the bill.
That's off to each and every person who literally said that I have some
But
ethics.
that word, what's Jasmine's favorite word? What's my favorite word? Yeah. Why you gotta say it like her favorite word is literally. If she don't say literally within the first 10 words, then I don't even believe that that's Jasmine Crockett. That's a clone. That's a clone. Jasmine, what you got?
I have not noticed that, but when people point things out like that, if she really does it, it's going to bother me just hearing her say literally all the time.
Going on over here? Well, they literally, shout out to everybody because they literally, what's my favorite word? Literally.
Well, hats off to each and every person who literally said that I have some ethics about myself and therefore I'm just going to resign. That's as it relates to the DOJ as well as every other agency. The scary part about this, though, is that only his lackeys will be left running our governmental agencies, whatever is left of those governmental agencies. When I think about resistance, though, I've had a lot of conversations. And one of the things that keeps coming up is how the former governor of this state was consistently doing daily briefings in the midst of COVID because we couldn't trust anything that Donald Trump was saying about the pandemic.
Right.
So everyone tuned in to really what almost was like the shadow president, the guy that was going to give us facts and not tell us to inject ourselves with bleach.
Right.
I think that we need to do something similar to that because all they're going to do, him and his new press secretary, is spew lies upon lies upon lies. We need to daily brief the American people. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are talking about, you know what, we just are looking forward to the midterms. We only need 3 more seats. I'm sure everybody's tired of getting emails, text messages, phone calls, trying to raise money. But the reality is that we have an opportunity right now. I know that a lot of people look at these seats that are available, which there's going to be a total of 3, and they say these are deep red seats. But here's the thing. We saw that in the state of Iowa.
Deep red seats. Democrats ain't winning no red seats. The Green Party might win a couple red seats.
They swung a seat 27 points so that a Democrat could win. I say we have nothing to lose. We need to go out. We need to talk to those people that finally understand.
She has nothing to lose. She just said that she doesn't understand. She just said she understands now, but in the last video, well, the same video here for you guys, but the last video that I covered, she said she doesn't understand how people could vote for Trump and doesn't understand Trump voters and whatnot. Are you serious?
Talk to those people that finally understand that the only mission that Donald Trump has is making sure that he can line his pockets, line Elon's pockets, and any other billionaire, all at our expense.
How's that different than
It's not just
Democrats?
going to be the people you dislike that are going to miss out on their Medicare, Medicaid, or their Social Security, or down in the state of Florida, where
People been not having Medicare and Medicaid and dying from lack of insulin and stuff. That's the whole thing Bernie Sanders was running on.
these seats are, they are talking about getting rid of FEMA. It is time to wake up, and it doesn't mean that you're a Democrat if you vote Democratically.
So this is where I want to get to. Who's the audience to swing some of these states? Is it progressives who understand that their priorities are being crushed, or is it people who voted Republican?
It's not progressive. Progressives go green. Republicans, if you're disenfranchised, if you're not happy, you know you don't want to be a Democrat. So hey, check out the Green Party. See if what we got, if we have to offer is what you want.
Whom you say you didn't vote for this, did you? You didn't vote for Elon Musk and a guy named Big Balls to have your documentation.
Yeah.
How does that message get out there in a way that entire audience hears?
I think that you're right. Definitely the entire audience. I just don't know how many progressives exist in Matt Gaetz' former district, right? But I do think that there are farmers in that district, farmers that are concerned because they rely upon monies as it relates to USAID and other monies that are now being dismantled. And it means that you may lose your family farm. It may be bought up by a corporate organization. And so I think just having
Sounds
very
pretty
real
normal.
conversations, we've seen people who have talked about, well, we don't want you firing the people at the VA, or maybe it's somebody that has to fly all the time and they're concerned because we have a
I mean, talking about corporations buying up farms, corporations have been buying up houses for the past since, what, 2008, so like 15 years-ish. And then maybe they got all the houses now, so they're going to buy the farms next, and then they'll buy other things after that. That's what they do.
Number of things literally falling out of the sky because he decided he was going to appoint some guy from Fox to be over transportation. But at the end of the day, there were those that never believed that we could end up with 2 senators in the state of Georgia, and we did. There were those that never believed we could have a Democrat representing Alabama, and in that special election, we did. So I think if there's any point in time that the people should rise up and figure out where should I focus my attention, it's on these special elections, and it's having real conversations on the doors with real people talking about what's really happening and not the lies that they're putting out there.
I want to go back to this idea. There are a lot of people frustrated about where a lot of Democrats are in this mix. Yeah. You're out there a lot. We've talked several times. You've got a take on everything that happens. This concept about a daily briefing. It's we've talked about whether we should act more like a parliamentary system here, where the opposition's got a job to do every day, and you see them as often as you see a prime minister. What does that look like? Have you had this conversation with a lot of your colleagues about how this looks?
I've been trying to work through it because I think when we compare it to what was happening in COVID, it was just.
If she thinks for even a little bit, for even a second, that the people is going to allow for them to control any amount of seats, especially in these special elections in these deep red states, they are out of their mind. And as a matter of fact, I would even say that this could be a form of money laundering. Has to be a form of money laundering. 1,000%. Because there's no way in the world that you're going to tell me that it is possible for them to control any of these seats going forward. As a matter of fact, I think it's a possibility for Democrats to lose seats. In every single election, I believe it's a possibility that Democrats lose seats. And what has FEMA ever really done? What has FEMA ever really done?
Well, when there's a disaster.
Honestly, to be honest with you, from my lens, I believe that it's time for us to go back and rethink what every single agency and what their role is, whether or not they're meeting expectations, whether or not we need to fold them into a completely different role, if we need to reorganize them, revamp them, rename them.
But that should be consistently done always. Every organization should be looked at and made like justify its existence. And yeah, so I mean that should just be normal.
That's what we do in corporate America. If something is not working, or you need to create an entirely new division, or you need to get rid of one division in order to have a much more efficient one and remove the waste. And I think that that's a better probability than to continue to fund this thing that is broken. We have this mentality that just because we've had something for a long time, that allows for it to be successful. That is not what success looks like.
Just think of that with the duopoly. Just because we've had it for a long time doesn't mean it's not successful for the people. It's successful for the rich, the corporations and whatnot.
In no way, shape, or form is that what
still get rid of
success
it.
is looking like. We have broken systems all over the place. We
Yes,
got a
we do.
broken social security. We got a broken treasury, even in the way that they pay things. We have a broken system. We need to go back and tear everything down and make it new again. We got to find a way, break it down, and make everything new again. Our whole entire government is bloated, wasteful, and is broken. 100%.
Just one subject.
Right.
And for us as Democrats, we like to have experts. We don't just want to talk in mouth, right? And so it's a matter of how do we know what's coming to make sure that we've got the right expert on hands. But I think that it would be great if at least maybe every Friday we have a different attorney general or the same one that talks about the status of the cases, right? I think that there's things that we can do. We can just maybe decide on what days we're going to have transportation, and maybe we can pull on Secretary Buttigieg to come through and say, this is the day that I will pick up and I will talk about what's happening at FAA. I think we also have to start having some field hearings. We've got to go into their territory. We've got to
But see, I like that idea that she has. Like, that's one of my ideas with the Green Party, is that we have more town halls and more just communication with the people. Just, yeah, like, get on like I'm doing now.
Explain to people in rural America, the reason that you don't have hospitals is because of their policies. The reasons you're not going to have schools is because of their policies. The reason that you had access to more jobs, more health care, as well as the next level of farming was because Democrats were the ones that wanted to make sure that you could have broadband access.
I tell you what, you go into our territory and we're going to go into your territory and we're going to see which one wins. Because, see, we already got soldiers on the ground over there in Chicago. We already got people on the ground over there in New York. Matter of fact, we don't even have to have people on the ground. We in y'all universities. We talking to y'all students. We on the streets. We doing street interviews. We got the YouTuber community. We got the content creator community. And on top of that, people are sick of y'all. They sick of y'all prioritizing things that don't matter. And I think that people, listen, you go into our territory and let them shut the doors in y'all face, and we gonna go into your territory and we gonna see who get more traction, who got more motion.
Talking crap. Let's go, Green Party. We get into all areas.
Y'all said her edges is missing. We're not gonna worry about her edges right now. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett's edges. Rebuke the edge thief, Lord.
We've got to start having the conversations instead of just ceding the territory, because the reality is that right now they're trying to cut SNAP benefits. You know who uses more SNAP benefits than anybody else? It's rural America. It's not urban America. We have a story for every single person who's not a billionaire in this country, and it's time for us to tell it.
So you had an interesting...
I agree. Jasmine is pitching for funding. They pitching for donors. All they doing is begging for money. They're not actually making no inroads and nowhere. But shout out to Jasmine Crockett. I think that she's continuing to try to create a reputation for herself, considering that she's been in office for a little bit. I think that she's absolutely positively continuing to make waves within the Democratic Party. I don't know how effective that's going to be for Americans, but we will be hearing more of her. She's always on MSNBC. She's always on some blog. She's always on somewhere, CNN or whatever, and talking about how she hates the Trump administration and how we need to focus on the resistance. She will definitely probably be a Congress member for a long time. And let me ask y'all a question though, Texas. How y'all like Jasmine Crockett?
That is a pretty rich
Of all
state.
of the people that y'all could have rocked out with, how did y'all get Yasmin? Texas.
All right. So, see, there's three different men, kind of the same kind of view. Looking at Jasmine Crockett, her little tour around, I don't know if it's around the world or Washington, D.C., whatever, tour around the media. And the way she's talking about Trump people, the way Trump people see her, I guess. I just like to look at things, like I say, across the spectrum. And, yeah, so keep coming back. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Just keep getting your news from across the spectrum.